Okay guys, I want to apologize for the language I use in this video. I saw this video and I got extremely pissed off, and I just wanted y'all to please forgive me for the language I said. Oh, hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, and especially squirrels. First it was bump stock that he banned. Now he supports red flag laws. Ain't nothing but a political clown show, if you ask me. This right here has just pissed me the fuck off.
President Trump addressed the steps he believes the U.S. should take after two deadly mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton this weekend. Mr. Trump zeroed in on a number of areas he wants the government to tackle, such as mental health and violent video games. The president also mentioned...
Okay, I have a mental disability. Mental health disability. It's called anxiety. Should they take my guns? Come and get them.
One step he'd like to take on the topic of gun control.
We must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process. That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders.
I want to bring in Weijia Jiang and Caitlin Huey Burns. Weijia is a CBS News White House correspondent, and Caitlin is a CBSN political reporter. Weijia, let's start with you. We heard the president there talk about those red flag laws. What are they, and why does the president support them?
So these red flag laws are exactly what they sound like. They would allow family members who see red flags in people who own guns to petition authorities to remove them and not allow them to purchase firearms.
Okay, and what if you got a disgruntled family member that doesn't like you and reports you? So they give you that gives the government the constitutional violation to take your weapons? Come on now. America, wake up.
And so it would be leaving the burden up to family members and loved ones to sort of decide whether someone should own a gun. And it's really hard to argue against this.
First it was bump stock, now it's this. Come on.
Is just another block for the president to build his case, as we heard, to focus on mental health and focus on screenings for people there, but not really attacking the meat, the heart of this matter, which is universal background checks. In fact, he did not mention that.
Okay, that woman is about dumb as a box of rocks. How does universal background checks is going to stop an idiot with the gun that has an agenda to purchase a gun from the black market or from another thug and then go kill people? How does that help? Seriously?
Specifically, during his 10-minute session to the country today, he alluded to background checks, but he was really specific with these red flag laws in terms of how he would want to implement them.
And Weijia, the president did point out that his administration did approve a ban on bump stocks last year after the Parkland shooting.
Yeah,
does it seem like the president, Weijia, will now follow up on those red flag laws?
Well, we have to remember what else he talked about after that particular shooting. In fact, he had the parents of the victims of that shooting here at the White House, and he also said he was supportive of raising the legal age limit from 18 to 21 for people to purchase semi-automatic weapons. He also talked about universal background checks at that time, but then he backed off of that. And a few weeks later, after meeting with the NRA and understanding what kind of pushback he would really have to deal with in the
Fuck the NRA. They're trying to take our rights away just as much as the president is.
Political fallout, he said actually there's not enough political support for this and it should be up to the states to make those sorts of decisions. So even though he makes a call after such a tragedy, it's hard to determine how much he'll actually do. You're right. He did use executive action to put more restrictions on bump stocks, and he has talked about doing more.
Which is against our constitutional right to bear arms.
In the past, but we really don't know until he actually takes action.
And let me tell y'all something. For those people who say, who needs bump stocks? Who needs bump stocks? CJ Grissom had a very good point. If our government decides to take all of our rights away, they have bigger and better weapons than we do. That will be our only defense to even come close to try to defend ourselves and our constitutional rights. So when Trump banned our bump stock, that is the most idiotic thing that he can do.
And matches the words that he says during such an emotional time.
And politicians are weighing in, as we think that they would. Here's what 2020 Democrats have said about gun control in the wake of these two shootings. Let's go and listen to this.
We have a uniquely American problem because of the uniquely American phenomenon that anyone who wants to kill somebody can easily use a loophole to go out and find a weapon.
The answer is not more guns. The answer is to make sure that these weapons of war...
The answer is not guns. So let me ask you a question, Yahoo. If a person that in Walmart had a pistol, concealed carry, legally, you think that many people would have got killed? No, you fucking idiot. That threat would have been neutralized quicker than you think, asshole.
These semi-automatic weapons don't get into the hands of people who go and use them on the street.
How can it be impossible, at least to deliver something like universal background checks that 90% of Americans, most Republicans, most gun owners want to see happen? Either this Senate needs to respond to the American people, or this Senate needs to be replaced.
It has to go well beyond thoughts and prayers, and even beyond sensible gun legislation like universal background checks, like ending the sales of weapons of war.
And Caitlin, what are you...
Weapons of war? What? Do we have tanks? Do we have freaking army jets? Those are weapons of war, you freaking idiot. Not semi-automatic weapons. Fucking moron.
Your thoughts? Do you think that those red flag laws are likely...
And look at this blonde-headed bimbo on the right. She's just smiling away, knowing that our rights are getting taken away every single day.
to satisfy the Democratic candidates?
These Democratic candidates are not going to be satisfied with what the president said today. We're already hearing criticism of that. I've talked to gun safety activists today and over the past several months, and they do think that these red flag laws are very effective at the state level.
I bet you my whole freaking year's salary she did not talk to any civil rights activists and agree with those red flag laws. I bet you my whole life salary.
There are 17 states, including red states. 5 Republican governors have signed red flag laws into effect. And over the past year, it's been used 1,700 times. So they do.
Okay, look at Chicago. They have the most restricted gun laws in the United States. And look at their highest capital murder rate in the world. In the world.
Believe that this is an effective way to go, and they often point to that as a way to say, look, we're making some progress here. But what they really want to see is congressional action. They want to see action by the president to call on Congress to come back for a session in the summer. Remember, they're on recess. They want universal background checks, and they want to show some progress being made on this issue. It is really becoming front and center of the Democrats.
Again, how is a background check going to keep a dumbass individual from getting a gun on the black market? What, they use background checks in the black market? I don't think so, you bimbo.
Democratic primary, which is really interesting because in primaries past, in elections past, it hasn't really taken center stage. We've seen candidates be proactive about putting out gun proposals. We've seen numerous candidates put forth plans on gun safety measures, and that's a shift from what we've seen in the past.
And what about some of the candidates? Do they differ on their gun control outlooks?
Not really. There aren't huge differences. There are just different ways to go about it. So Cory Booker, for example, wants to reform the licensing process. Kamala Harris wants to put forward executive action if Congress doesn't act in the first 100 days. And other candidates have similar types of measures. What's really interesting, though, that you're hearing from the candidates is not a lot of faith in Congress getting any of this done. And so they're talking about things that they want to do through executive action. What we saw in CBS News polling taken about a year after the Parkland shooting was that 56% of Americans, so a majority, want stricter gun measures, but they have little faith in lawmakers and the president to get anything done on this issue. So that's why you see gun safety activists talking about things going on the local level, and that's why you're going to see them really ramp up the pressure heading into the 2020 elections. I talked to one person today who said that these people are watching very closely, not only the presidential election, but also the elections for Congress. They think that this is a winning issue in the suburbs, areas that they need to take over.
All right, let's pivot now. Weijia, I want to ask you this about the topic of white supremacy.
This video was about
this the president's
Trump and the red flag laws. Basically taking away our civil right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We need to wake up now and get armed.